And when we were there, they were all discussing how much time it took them to prep for videos. And a lot of these guys were spending 2, 3, 4 straight weeks of 12 hours a day to make one video per month. And I will tell you this, is that it was in no way surprising to me after going there for 2 days what it took and why those guys were the number one in that industry for making content that was exceptional. And so it completely reset my standard, reset my bar for how much preparation was required to be exceptional. And it was because, and this is why it's so silly for me, because I feel like I keep learning and relearning the same lessons, but just in new domains, is that the people who are doing way better than you are just working so much harder. And the thing is that people think that someone's working like 2 times as hard or 3 times as hard, because we tend to think in increments. We're like, okay, well, I work this much, someone must be doing twice as much work. But it's not even close to that. These guys are doing like literally 100 times the work. And it's not only that, they have a team of 10 people spending 4 weeks to prepare one 15-minute video. Like the order of magnitude in terms of effort there, you multiply it by 10 times 12 hours a day, times 4 weeks, all of a sudden you really are at 1,000 times the work, 1,500 times the work to create, to be fair, an outcome that is 1,500 or 10,000 times better than the average YouTube video or whatever it is that you're making. And obviously I'm just using this as a content example, but it applies to anything. It applies to sales meetings, it applies to how you prep for a date, it applies to how you meet the parents or the in-laws. And so I'll tell you a second story. So I used to do some consulting stuff, and I had a guy who was a friend, or was a business acquaintance, who said, hey man, I would love it if we could spend a day together. And I was like, I don't really do that. And he's like, just name a price. And I said, fine. Actually, total fun side note story with this. I was like, fine, I'll do it for 50 grand. This was ages ago. And he said, how about 35? And I said, how about 75? And he was like, all right, 50 is cool. And I was like, all right. And so just as a side note, when someone says, hey, can you do it for less? You can always say, hey, I can do it for more. And every single time I've used that overcome, it has worked. So right now it's like 100% overcome for using that. Highly recommend using it in a sales situation, because people are like, okay, I got it, understood. Like, that's your price. So that was first half of story number 2 with the consulting guy. So when I did that day, what I did was I started that morning. I think we were going to start meeting at 9. And so I woke up at 5. And I spent 4 hours reviewing his business, right? Because I figured my day was going to be shot. This is going to be my day. Like, I'm not going to try and do anything else. And so I spent the 4 hours prepping. And I came into the day with, I think, 4 or 5 pages of notes of like, okay, here are things we could do here that would be better. Here's things on your follow-up sequence. Here's things on your landing pages. Here are things that you can do from a content. Here's how I think your CTAs could be better. All of this stuff, right? And so I came in with it, and